Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. We're really glad to have you here. I think we're gonna take a few moments just to let everyone settle in, let the late joiners join, and then we'll get started. How is everyone doing today? You can chat with us in the chat box, and towards the end of the session, we will have allocated time for Q&As. So we will do that. So and the goal of this important discussion. Today, we are gathered here to discuss an incredibly important topic. Our topic for the day is the role and evolution of technology in transforming Islamic finance and financial institutions. As many of you might know, technology is playing such an important role in reshaping the financial sector, particularly within the Islamic finance. The advancements in core banking and compliance technologies are driving digitalizations, enabling financial institutions to modernize their operations while ensuring safety and security for their customers. These cutting-edge solutions are not only helping institutions meet complex regulatory requirements, but also effectively manage risks, making them more resilient, compliant, and customer-focused in today's dynamic financial landscape. To help us dive deeper into this topic, we are joined by two experts who bring a wealth of experience and insights. So I will pass the mic now to Javed and let him introduce himself and tell us a little bit more about his organization too. The
Thank you.
floor is
Thank you.
yours, Javed. Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Khalia. Hi, everyone. Nice to be here. We have an exciting set of topics to discuss. So I'm definitely looking forward. I'm Javed Rafi. I'm part of the solution consulting team focusing on Middle East Africa. Introducing Toom as an organization. Toom is a fourth generation core platform that focuses on various different aspects of core banking, which is primarily the account management. And there are 40 plus microservices that cater to various different use cases. Relevant to today's topic would be Islamic banking. So Toom has capabilities to support both Islamic deposits as well as financing. And specifically focusing on this region, we have a full-fledged team based out of Middle East, and we have flexible deployment models. Again, if we look at GCC, depending on the regulations of data residency, presence of cloud, you may have a requirement of a public cloud, private cloud, on-prem. The platform offers complete flexibility in how you could deploy. And there are a variety of features that would enable you to come up with new financial products, be it in the form of Islamic finance as well as Islamic deposits. And about myself, I've been focusing on the financial services industry for quite a while now. 12 years in Europe, and the last 5 years have been focusing on the Middle East. So nice to be here.
Thank you so much, Javed, for the introduction and for sharing a little bit more about Toom. It's great to have you here with us today. Now I will pass the mic to Mohammed Abu Sheikha. Can you please introduce yourself to our audience and give us a little bit of an overview about Muzan?
Thank you, Ghalia. Thank you, Javed, for your introduction. This is Muhammad Abu Sheikha. I'm from Muzon, specifically. I'm heading the pre-sales activities within Muzon, providing some consultancy like approach to our clients and our team within the company. I came with over 15 years of experience within the financial crimes sector for the past. Been working in multiple jurisdictions, projects in Europe, in APAC, where I was a resident for over 5 years. Currently, I'm based in Dubai, helping the company, which is Mozon, to expand within different sectors. So for Mozon, we provide several products where we provide some consultancy services when it comes to data management and participating in some big projects related to data management, dashboardings, and help institutions understand their data. We also have one product which is called Focal, which serves as a one-stop shop for all compliance needs when it comes to onboarding, transaction monitoring, screening, case management, and fraud prevention, all in under one umbrella, because at the time we all know the challenge. One of the challenges that we will be discussing of having multiple solutions for each vertical of the financial crimes, which is manageable by big banks, but for small financial institutions, lending companies, fintechs, it's a challenge for them. In addition to what Javed mentioned, the flexibility of hosting, especially when we are talking about people who are utilizing, or organizations that are utilizing new technologies. They wanted something light to be hosted either on cloud, public cloud, on-prem. All these things can be offered to our customers. Excited to be here to chat with
Thank you.
Javed, especially on some topics, and we'll be happy to have this as a discussion with our audience as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Muhammad, for that insightful introduction and for giving us a glimpse into Muzan. We are thrilled to have you with us today. I believe that both Javed and Muhammad expertise, Muzan and Toom's roles in driving innovation within financial sector are truly invaluable to this discussion. So before we begin, I'd like to remind everyone that there will be time towards the end for a Q&A session. So please feel free to submit your questions in the Q&A section as we go along, and we will do our best to address as many as possible. So Javed, let's begin with you. Can you introduce Islamic finance and how it differs from traditional finance?
Sure, definitely. So if we compare both the models, I'll first give a brief highlight of conventional finance, how conventional finance works. So the idea of conventional finance is for money to generate profits. So here in this case, the idle money that a lender has is capable of generating profits by offering it to a borrower. In contrast, Islamic finance focuses more on the concept of equity, sharing of responsibility in terms of risk. So, what it basically means is the money needs to be put to work so that not only the lender benefits, but also the borrower doesn't feel let off. Because if we talk about a conventional financing use case, the lender is benefiting from or profiting of a borrower, which is completely different from what Islamic finance focuses on, where the concept of riba or interest is prohibited. So here, there are again different flavors of Islamic financing. So we can largely classify them into four different financial models under Islamic financing. One would be the sale contract, and then you have the lease contract, you have trade, and you have investment. So depending on the type of contract, for example, leasing is a use case, personal loans or consumer financing is a use case. There are credit guarantees. So depending on the type of financing that's being offered, an Islamic finance product would fall under one of these four categories. So that's Islamic financing in general, where the focus is not on making money a tool, but rather than a commodity that is being put to work and the profit that it generates. It could be investing in a particular trade or investing into a particular venture where both the lender and borrower gain or have equal responsibility on the outcome. So that's more around the Islamic financing. And now here, if we look at the technology disruptions, like how technology disrupts Islamic financing, if we look at the new use cases that are coming up, let's say, be it the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia or various different countries in the Middle East, gone are the days where finance was only focusing on the classic products, be it products for retail, SME, corporates. Now there are more and more new use cases coming up. For example, recently, SAMA, the Saudi regulator, had issued the 64th financing license, which basically means that as and when the day progresses, there are going to be new use cases. To give you an example, crowdfunding in an Islamic lending scenario is a totally new concept. It didn't exist, let's say, 10 years before or 20 years before. So as and when new ideas emerge, aligning with the vision, vision of the leadership in different countries here in the GCC, there is a need for a disruption to happen where there are going to be new financing use cases, which will still be within the boundaries of Islamic financing or within these different models. But then there are going to be more and more new use cases, and there are multiple financial products that are waiting to be disrupted. And that's how technology would support the disruption. To give you an example, I would say vehicle leasing or car leasing. So that's a use case that is waiting to be disrupted in the market. So when, as and when, an in financial institution that's already focusing on car leasing, or maybe a new fintech enters the market, they are going to come up with an innovative way, which is going to make it interesting, not only for the consumer, but also for the lender, so that how efficiently can we offer these different products in the market. And that's where technology is going to be a key enabler.
Okay, okay. Very clear, Javed. Thank you so much for the introduction on such a complex topic, because Islamic finance differs extremely from traditional finance. So, now, since we have the lay of the land very clear, I want to shift the conversation more onto the technology. So, Javed, I'm going to start with you again. So, bear with me, please. How does compliance technology help financial institutions stay aligned with regulatory standards?
Sure. I would say to begin with, data residency is primarily critical because every country in the Middle East mandates data residency. And usage of cloud components, again, adopting to various different setups that exist. For example, when we talk about AI, Amazon has EMR, there's Google Cloud Data Proc, there are various different use cases. Now, how would technology enable compliance? I would say there are multiple ways in which it could happen. For example, to begin with, faster credit decisioning, because in today's day and age, where new flavors of consumer financing, buy now, pay later, everything becomes digital. Google Pay is now being officially launched in the region. There are like so many new technology advancements happening. So this basically means that the decision needs to be happening quickly, and the accuracy of the decision also needs to be on the higher side, where from a financial institution perspective, an institution needs to know how to manage the data they have in an effective manner. How quickly can they offer various different credit decisions? And how can the turnaround time be improved? For example, if we are looking at a SME financing use case, where a financial institution is offering credit guarantees or invoice financing, how can a financial institution use technology and offer quicker turnaround times? So that will save the money, enable SMEs to have their required capital for them to improve their business operations. So that's specifically where technology can deliver when it comes to compliance and also faster decision making. not only means that the consumer, be it retail or an SME, gets the finance amount quickly, but it also means the financial institution has the underlying technology to make accurate predictions and decisions should a particular customer's request be approved or declined. So that's where the technology plays an effective role.
Got you. Thank you so much, Javed. So we believe that technology has such an important role in staying compliant and keeping up with all of the changes and the new regulations and so on in the current market. So, Mohammed, I haven't heard from you in a while. My next question is to you. What are the challenges faced by financial institutions in the Middle East when it comes to compliance?
Yeah, thank you, Ghali, and thank you, Javed, for setting the ground for the discussion. So I'll be focusing more towards the financial crimes compliance, not only compliance in terms of only regulations, because within the past couple of years, we've seen a lot of changes within Middle East, and a lot of these things are affecting the regulations. So it's always tough for financial institutions to balance between customer experience and stay compliant. Because always, we are always in this space when we are fighting financial crimes. It's always affecting the customer experience. This is what organizations are afraid of. So I want my customers to be happy. At the same time, I want to do everything possible to stay compliant, to avoid penalties, to save the economy, and so on. So these challenges comes because of in Middle East, we have diverse of regulatory frameworks. We have multiple countries. Most of the organizations or financial institutions in this region, they are operating in different countries. So there is a challenge always to follow all these regulations within one single institution. So that's why Javed touched on a point of the data residency. Data residency, it's not mandatory in all countries. So it depends where you are operating. You need to follow that. So that's why having multiple deployment stacks, it's always helpful for these organizations to be compliant. When we dig deeper into financial crimes, we see the political instability in Middle East. It's always affecting the sanctions. And these sanctions are always making these regulators changing their regulations in order to fit to these new sanctions and new risks that are opposed in this area. Also, we are always talking about new technologies. New technologies sometimes can cause some harm to financial crimes if it was used in a wrong way. So we've seen a very sophisticated fraud attacks on some organizations. All of these fraudsters are utilizing latest technologies. We saw the deepfake, we saw the impersonating using AI, account takeover. These all threats that are opposed mainly through technology. So you need something more sophisticated in order to cover these parts. Lastly, with the ease of use of or ease of access to the financial ecosystem. Previously, if we compare it to before 20 years, we only had banks and some new lending companies available, some exchange houses. Currently, we are seeing hundreds of fintechs operating in every country. So that is causing a huge volume of transactions, which will also increase the amount of threat that we are getting around money laundering and fraud.
Yes, yeah. Thank you so much, Mohammed. I believe that, technology, it's evolving really quickly. It's helping the fintechs, the banks, but at the same time, it's kind of allowing the fraudsters, to do their fraud and, scam people. And so it's it's becoming more challenging, and we see and we hear on the news the amount of stories of people who lost their life savings or something like that, or like their identity being stolen. So there are a lot of scenarios happening around fraudsters. And I want to thank you again, Mohammed, for shifting the conversation and focusing it more on the customer side. So the customer here is getting scammed, the customer is at risk. So I want to talk a little bit more about the customer and shift the conversation more onto the customer side. So, Javed, my next question is to you. How does technology help make banking safer and more secure for the customers?
I definitely believe the financial institutions have a greater responsibility. As Abu Sheikha mentioned, the scamsters are using the latest and the greatest of the technology that's available as of today. So
Mm-hmm.
that basically means the financial institutions cannot sit and consider the system works. So let's continue doing the operations as if it's going to be a happy flow all the way around. So that's not going to be the case. Where financial institutions, their core team needs to come out of their comfort zone, because definitely it makes sense, because when we talk about financial institution which has multiple different departments, different teams, over a period of time they are used to a particular process, a set of particular systems, but these systems were built for the day-to-day operations that were a couple of decades ago. So that's where investing in new technology and upskilling across departments and identifying the new capabilities and plugging it into your architecture would make your architecture more robust, so that you're built for any sort of change, let's say in the form of new features that you may want to release, but also at the same time have a wall around yourself in terms of your architecture security, so that you're able to manage the day-to-day threats that your customers would face. Because in today's day and age, it's not only that customers are receiving or facing threats from the mobile app. Of course, mobile app security is very important, but then there are multiple hacks that we see where, let's say, be it a one-time password fraud, or it could be, let's say, a kind of fraud where a system is also assisting the fraudster. The system, the back end system is assisting the fraudster by bypassing certain security levels, and that's where modernizing or upgrading the technology is quite critical. Because today's day and age, depending on which cloud provider you use or which technology you use, there's always latest and the updated version, and that's where a core platform fills in the gap, where the flexibility of microservices, a system that has gone through multiple security checks, that is built for scalability. For example, there are also fraud scenarios happening during a particular festival program, where during a Eid or a particular celebration,
Mm-hmm.
there's going to be multiple requests coming in, and if the system isn't capable of managing that load, then it also results in fraud. So there are like different perspectives.
Yes.
From a customer's perspective, I would say quicker decision making from an organization is quite
Mm-hmm.
interesting, because a customer, if they want to apply for a finance, the sooner they get a response, a positive response, the better for them. And from an organization perspective, having less manual intervention, because when we talk about a finance contract, the process of issuing a loan or a finance contract, there are multiple stages involved. So this is where having less manual intervention and making an automated process, so that be it on the compliance side as well as from a customer side, we are able to solve both the problems. And that's where a role of technology and modern platform makes it more secure, makes it more robust, and also makes life of both customers and the financial institutions quite easy.
Okay, got it. Javed, I'm gonna go off script here for a bit, but do you have an advice for all of us here attending the webinar on how to protect our data from being, risked for a fraud or being scammed? What's like the number one advice that you have for everyone here?
The number one advice is first to have a data expert in the team, because what I see is many financial institutions do not have complete clarity on the entire data set they have. Let's say if I'm a financial institution and I am capturing 100 different data points from a customer as part of the process of issuing a finance contract. I see that there is a trend where there are very few people in the organization that have complete clarity and why a particular data is being captured, what is the use, how can an organization benefit from improvising on it. So I think clarity on what data is being captured and how it is used, that's very important. Because if an organization feels that a particular data is being captured and it's not relevant, then why capture it in first place? So there needs to be clarity. So having a data team that is able to clearly focus on what is being captured, how it is being utilized, that's of paramount importance. And the second is, how effectively are you using the data? Because, for example, if a customer is applying for a loan, how quickly are you able to take this information, process it, and let's say if the institution is working on an AI data model that's going to give you predictive analysis, or let's say a compliance underwriting team would require reports to understand the trends. So that is again important. And end of the day, it's going to come down to technology, the kind of tech stack a particular organization uses. Not only the core, but also if we talk about finance, Islamic financing, we'll have to consider credit decisioning, loan origination, loan management, loan collection, and how is the payment happening now specifically that Google Pay is going to be very popular.
Yes.
Customers
Yeah.
would prefer paying their installments via Google Pay, which again brings a new layer or a new channel where there is possibility of fraud, risk, data analysis.
Yes.
So how quickly
Absolutely.
can financial institutions adapt to such new changes happening in the region? And that's where having a robust technology system and also a data team, I would say these 2 points are very critical, or the main points to keep in mind to protect the data.
Yeah, that's very clear. Thank you so much, Javed, for that answer and for the advice. Thank you for your input. So, Mohammed, I have the next question to you around the same topic, focusing on the customer. What role does customer trust play in digital transformation, and how can technology help maintain it?
Yeah, for technology, it can help a lot. So we can keep talking about this topic for some time, but mainly if we go to what Javid was talking about having the process to issue a loan or credit card or whatever kind of products within a financial institution. Always, if you go to these financial institutions, you will find that the compliance team is a bottleneck for them. Why is that? Because the compliance team are there to help protect the organization from any fraudulent activities, any money laundering, or dealing with a sanctioned entity. Because all of these comes with it's high risk and comes with a huge loss for the organization. So there will be a need to understand the risk of their customers. By doing the risk of understanding the risk of the compliance of the customer, it's all about the compliance solutions, to have processes and procedures in place to understand my customer. So how the technology can help with that is to automate the process. Previously, most of these processes were manual. And Javed mentioned that sometimes a financial institution can be talking to around 100 data points. So imagine monitoring this manually. It will take a long time, plus uh, even the people who are working on this investigation and understanding the customer will not be very confident around their decisions. That's why it's always taking time. So it's wasting resources and wasting money that is being paid. So instead of having 2-3 people within the compliance team to understand this part, sometimes we see hundreds of employees within a small section within the compliance team just to try that. So compliance can help automating this process to understand the customer transactions, or first of all, to understand the customer during the onboarding, having the risk assessment for this customer to see whether this customer is someone who I can trust to open an account with. Going forward, I will start understanding the customer transactions or the customer behavior based on their transactions. So from there, I can easily detect money laundering and fraud cases that are even affecting my organization or my customer.
Yes.
At the same time, we can help in technology. Technology can help in protecting the customer from hacking sometimes. So you cannot monitor each transaction or each login attempt that is happening to the mobile application or web application manually, because you need to have a decision on spot, as mentioned by Javed. So you need to streamline this process, so everything should be on time. Plus, we can go with technology into a deeper level of understanding. I mentioned the huge volume of transactions. So even the old ways of monitoring transactions, it's not always helpful at this point, because most of these are being done after the fact. So we need something to be on spot, understand some solutions that are able to analyze the data on the fly. So we will need something related to machine learning to do some predictive analysis where you can help or protecting the customers from being attacked by fraudulent actions. So we can predict their expenditure, for example. From there, we can predict that there is a risk that might be in this certain part. So from there, predictive analysis is very important to utilize machine learning, plus the pattern recognition, because most of the solutions that we are all used to are rule-based, I would say. So you need something that you want to detect something that you don't know what is it. So it's called anomaly detection, that depending on the behavior, so my behavior as Muhammad Abu Sheikha can be different than the behavior of Javed, for example, in financial institution. So the normal way of monitoring customers might not have justice, I would say. So maybe my transactions are always suspicious, so I should be monitored in a different way. So that's why using machine learning is important for that. In addition to the new technologies like the AI, natural language processing. Natural language processing, by the way, it opposes a very big nightmare for financial institutions in this in Middle East because of the naming structure of our names. So Muhammad, I always take this as an example. Muhammad is a name that can be written in more than 20 different ways. So you need something that have the natural language processing in detecting and screening the names against the blacklists. Especially in this area of the world, if we take Dubai, for example, it has more than 170 nationalities. So each naming convention is different than the other. So you need natural language processing to understand the naming, how they are adding their comments, what is the behavior of this customer. There comes the importance of natural language processing. By all this, we are improving the risk assessment for the customer, helping the organizations to have better understanding of the customer, and will help them to take more informative decisions to help them in daily operations.
Thank you, Mohammed, for that answer. And speaking of language processing, whenever anyone asks me personally about the topic, I always use the name Mohammed as well. So, Mohammed in Arabic, just one way to write it. In English, more than 20 ways. That's wild. So, I want to shift the conversation now a little bit more into addressing the challenges that the financial institutions face in adapting new technologies. Like Javed and yourself have discussed just now, the challenges are evolving, right? And the opportunities are evolving just because all of the compliance requirements are evolving as well. So they are parallelly changing and improving and evolving. So my next question is to you, Mohammed, again. How can institutions overcome the challenges that leverage the opportunities digital transformations offer?
Yeah, great question, by the way. So to take a step back here, we see regulators in this area, I would say SAMA, and for an example, they are always updated with the regulators. You will see a lot of updates are being sent and circulars are being sent to financial institutions in order to be compliant with these new threats that they saw in the region. So having these new technologies can help organizations to have a comprehensive compliance solution. Allow me to, I'm always talking about compliance as a specific.
It's
This
okay.
is where I come from.
Yeah.
So having a comprehensive compliance solution where you can understand the customer. Compliance is always about understanding the customer, understanding the risks that can be opposed by this customer, understanding the customer behavior, understanding what risks can this customer be opposed to as well. So having this comprehensive solution, having everything in one place instead of having multiple systems that will serve certain parts of this compliance. So having one for fraud, one for AML compliance, one for screening, one for case management, all of these, it's always tough for financial institutions, especially the non-banks. When we are talking about lending companies or digital banks or even any fintech. So they need something that is comprehensive. Normally, they are asking for cloud-based solutions. So you need new technologies to be able to be hosted on cloud. You need to streamline the compliance process. As we mentioned, compliance can be a bottleneck for financial institutions. So we need to streamline this to accommodate these new trends that we have. You need everything to be on real time. You don't have much time to take decisions on certain actions. You need to pass this transaction or not. You need to take decision on spot. All of this will always affect the cost efficiency. So having these technologies will help reducing the manual efforts that can be performed by the compliance teams. Everything is automated. These technologies can help in providing better understanding of my current situation by providing better logs, better reports, better dashboards that can help easily to take decisions on the fly. And also even the decisions using the AI and machine learning can be automated as well. So you can automate the whole process. And the most important thing, all of this should be done in a secured and private way. So security is a big concern always for financial institutions. If we go back 5 years or 10 years back, when this cloud solution started, everybody was concerned about hosting their data, especially financial institutions, to host their data on cloud. But then it turned out to have more secure infrastructure when it comes to cloud. Because it has multiple layers of verification from the provider, from the regulator. It's been audited regularly. A lot of tests should be done there, and also the solution provider test this cloud. Plus, the organization itself sometimes it tests this. So instead of having the testing of the security done by only the financial institution, now you have added 2 or 3 more layers of testing the compliance infrastructure. Having all this on cloud, it will also help in the scalability and the flexibility of the solution. So you don't need to care more about my infrastructure. Is it enough to handle my growth plan for the next 5 or 10 years? No, everything is on cloud. It's scalable, flexible. Everything can be done with that. So it will always affect your decision making and affects the customer experience.
Absolutely. That's such a great segue and a great transition to our next topic, which is the future trends in financial technologies. You mentioned the cloud, the infrastructure, and all of these things that serve as a solution for the future and the future trends in financial technology. So my next question is to you, Javed, focusing on the topic of the future trends. What are some emerging trends in financial technology that institutions should prepare for the coming years?
Sure. I mean, be it an individual or a financial institution or a tech company, there needs to be favorable environment for someone to innovate, coming up with new ideas. Now, regulators in across Middle East, they are creating this favorable environment. There are regulatory sandboxes, there are fintech hubs where new ideas could be tested, played around. From a financial institution perspective, so the existing financial institutions, they have a greater responsibility of being a technology enabler to enable the vision that the respective countries across Middle East have in terms of their aspirations, ambitions. So they have a greater responsibility. Now, that would mean for these financial institutions need to start introspecting, need to look into the systems they have, get out of their comfort zone, and look into how they can upgrade themselves in terms of new technology and also enable upcoming fintechs. For example, if I look at different trends, climate tech is picking up. There are a lot of discussions happening on climate tech. How could financing, Islamic financing in climate tech, ESG, various different sustainability programs. There's also financing as a service, or as you may call it in the Western world, lending as a service, which is again catching up, where institutions would want to offer the technology infrastructure that would enable any new fintech idea or any new financing idea to get their Sharia compliance in place and then use the lending as a service or financing as a service and go ahead and quickly launch so that to avoid any technology hurdles they may face. Leasing is also an interesting use case. We are seeing a lot of emerging trends around SME financing, which is again one of the underserved segment, I would say, here in the Middle East. So these are different emerging trends. Now, this is from a financial institution perspective. Now, from a fintech perspective, let's say someone has an idea, wants to come up with a hybrid use case that takes the best of the different financial models in Islamic financing, maybe couple it with Islamic deposits and come up with a hybrid model. They would primarily require two aspects. One is to get their business idea approved from a Sharia perspective. So a Sharia expert would go through the end-to-end business use case, the flow of applying for a finance contract, servicing it, and then maturity of the contract. So that's one aspect. And the second key aspect is having the right set of technology. Because when you come up with new ideas, the legacy systems are not going to enable you to achieve quicker decision making, to enable you have greater security, to leverage on the latest tools of AI that cloud providers offer, or maybe any tool that you may have in mind. So having a flexible modern technology and also a company or an institution that backs up the technology by having a strong product team. Because today, if I have an idea that I would want to launch in Islamic financing, I shouldn't be evaluating my tech stack to see if my tech stack can fulfill what I need today. But tomorrow, if I have an innovative idea, is this technology going to enable me? And that's one of the key decision factors where be it fintechs or financial institutions need to keep in mind rather than staying in their comfort zone and focusing, can this technology support what I need today. Because given the changes happening in the region and the advancements, there are new ideas coming up. So be it a financial institution or a new age fintech that wants to launch in the region, you need to have a flexible architecture that's built for change, not an architecture that's built to last. So I would say these are the main points to consider and the key emerging trends.
Uh-huh. Thank you so much, Javed. The key points that you just shared are really, really important in the future trends in financial technology. I want to hear a little bit from you, Muhammad, regarding the same topic, future trends in financial technology. How can financial institutions future-proof their opportunities and strategies to stay ahead in this rapidly evolving landscape?
Of course. So now with what we mentioned earlier, fraudsters, for example, let's take fraud as an example, are being savvier, and they are always coming up with new ways on how they attack customers. And we've seen a lot of cases, and it's always strange that these are geniuses all around. So
Yeah.
the trend now, from what we are seeing in terms of regulations, most of the regulators are pushing towards an effective approach toward fraud prevention. And we've seen in Bank of England, for example, they issued some papers forcing financial institutions on how they can pay back their customers who are being attacked by these fraudulent activities. So what we are seeing in future, that these financial institutions should be paying back their customers whenever there is a fraud happening. So that's why we are seeing a lot of attraction when it comes to fraud prevention and detection. Of course, as mentioned by Javed, to utilize such a new technology, because fraud, you cannot monitor it using legacy solutions. You need to change the infrastructure, change how your solution are talking to each other. So you need a newer era of financial solutions within your organizations to be able to accommodate such detection techniques to help protect your customers and you at the first point as an organization.
Yes, for sure. Absolutely.
So here comes the need of having a new way of managing your threats with the new solutions in place, utilizing new technologies that is flexible, scalable, cost efficient, and help you to have understanding all your customer information and to have it in a risk-based approach, because you need always, as I mentioned, to balance between compliance and customer experience.
Absolutely. Thank you both for the inspiring answers for the future of financial technologies. Right now, I wanna, since we have about 10 minutes left in our time today, I want to open the floor for questions. And we've got a few questions coming in from our audience that I'm gonna read out loud, and then we'll figure out which one of you guys will answer which question. So the first question that we have here is from Akib Mansour. How can emerging technologies like AI and blockchain help Islamic financial institutions detect and prevent fraud while ensuring compliance with Saudi regulations? I believe, Muhammad, you are best suited for this question, right?
Yes, so AI and blockchain, I would say blockchain is it needs some maybe 3-4 webinars to talk about blockchain, because it has its own
Absolutely. Yeah.
challenges and its own way of preventing fraud in terms of that. But AI, you cannot detect fraud without AI, because the main idea of having a solution for fraud is, as I mentioned, the legacy solutions, normally you will be building some rules saying that this is a common fraud activity that we saw throughout the years. So if anyone who's any transaction is hitting this specific rule, I want it to be detected. But when it comes to fraud, sometimes fraudsters, they are doing things that is normal for a customer. They are not doing some large transactions in a specific way. They are stealing small money from here and there. So understanding the customer behavior, comparing each transaction that you are getting with a previous behavior of this customer. So this customer is buying a lot through Amazon, for example. Suddenly they started paying using prepaid cards and on physical stores in specific regions that they are not normally going there. Or you can compare the location of the customer with the location of the transaction and so on. All of these things should be detected through AI. So AI is to help you to detect the things that you are not aware of, which we always refer to it as anomaly detection. Detecting something that it's a new trend of fraud. So that's how you prevent fraud. Fraudsters are always one step or two steps ahead of us. So you need something to be even more ahead of them. So that's why AI is an important thing. And machine learning, or AI and machine learning is always attached to each other as something very important. And this is something, by the way, Saudi regulators are pushing towards.
Yeah, very clear. Thank you. I hope that answers your question, Akib. My next question coming from Abdul Bari. Sorry if I'm butchering your last name, Khashibi. So the next question is for you, Javed. Do you have an example of a bank that successfully transformed from a conventional bank to an Islamic bank? How did this transformation occur?
Um, I wouldn't recall a specific bank that managed to do this transformation, because what
Mm-hmm.
we typically see in this region is an existing conventional bank launches an Islamic banking arm and then starts offering Islamic products. So it's usually either it's a pure Islamic bank that's offering only Islamic product, or a bank that's offering both. So far I haven't seen a scenario where a bank has completely transformed by doing away with the conventional products and switching to Islamic product. So that would be my answer. But again, it's a very interesting challenge for banks to have, because typically when a conventional bank wants to launch Islamic bank, then again the questions around what kind of tech stack do they plan to have. Again, what kind of flexibility would such a tech stack give? Because if we look at different Islamic banks that exist as of today, and the various different Islamic products that are being offered, how can a bank innovate, improve by offering better financing products at lower cost that benefits a borrower? So that would mean the latest technology trends need to be adapted. The internal organization needs to be open for change. That I think it's something that the institution should focus on, the ones that are doing both conventional as well as Islamic.
Okay, clear. Thank you for your insights and your input, Javed. This next question is coming from, and I'm sorry again if I'm butchering your name, Malgorazata Berlueska. She says, or he says, I am wondering how to implement a fast digital process for creditworthiness assessment and card issuance in compliance with Murbaha. Are there any Islamic banks that issue such cards within seconds based on a predefined limit? Um,
For
I
this,
think
I mean,
Javed
I
will
think you
know.
need to. I think for this, you need to bring some banks to this as a sales pitch
Sorry,
for
yes,
them.
that's what I thought.
Right? I don't know if Javed has some
Yeah,
extra.
I could give an insight. I mean, issuing a card in an instant, and then that too
Uh-huh,
a credit card, that's a very interesting use case. But what I see is the maximum turnaround time that I've seen so far is 48 hours for a credit decision to be done, which is
uh-huh,
again, I would say slow. And that's where Abu Sheikha was highlighting how AI and various other components would enable you to quickly make your decisions. So that's something that's waiting to be disrupted in the region to improve the credit worthiness assessment so that you could make a decision. And also in terms of card issuance, definitely virtual card issuance from a technology standpoint can be issued in an instant. But is there any institution that's doing it as of today? I would doubt it. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing someone disrupt this use case, where let's say if it could be consumer financing, salary advance loan, payroll loan, or a personal loan, where a fintech or a financial institution enables a customer to, let's say, download an app, do the eKYC, because most of the countries in GCC have their eKYC set up. So get the eKYC done, do a quick credit assessment where you get the data from the credit bureau, but also you have your own credit data model that's going to quickly make a decision and not rely on any manual intervention. Because what I also see is there are multiple institutions that still rely on manual checks before manual checks or verification before they approve or decline a credit request. So I believe that's where disruption is pending.
Uh-huh. Thank you so much for your input, Javed. This next question is coming from Saleh Youssef, and I believe this question is best suited for you, Abu Sheikha. What barriers do you think are preventing Islamic financial institutions from fully embracing digital transformation?
I would say this is something that was mentioned by Javed, that digitalization needs new stacks, new infrastructure stacks, new technology to be able to accommodate the digital landscape. So that's why it's always using the legacy solutions. It's always a challenge. So you need something that is quick fit, easy deployment. Instead of taking years of deploying a solution, it should be running up fast. Plus, having the option of multiple hosting options where it can be scalable, because in digital you don't know exactly what will be. You can predict the volume, but it's direct access to the clients, to the end user. So from there you can have exponential growth. So you need something scalable to fit that. So that's why cloud solutions will be the best fit for that.
Okay, okay, thank you. Um, uh, I believe this next question is from David. Is there an official body that certifies whether a financial institution is compliant with Islamic finance principles? If so, what is the global organization responsible for this certification? That is such a great question, David. I really want to know the answer as well.
I
Uh,
could go first. Then
yes, okay.
Abhishek, please feel free to share your thoughts. There are different bodies, and typically financial institutions that are offering Islamic products, they do have their certification on the website. So there are a couple of institutions spread across GCC where they are certified Sharia experts who would understand the end-to-end use case and then provide their certification. And there are also audit processes to make sure that the idea that you pitched is the exact idea that you have actually implemented in terms of your Islamic product. So both certification and audit, there are multiple certified organizations which has a list of certified Sharia experts who are authorized to give such approvals. So typical Islamic finance products, each and every product goes through such a process. And then for customers to gain confidence, the institutions also post these certifications details. When was it last certified? When was it audited on their websites as well? So there are multiple such organizations.
Okay. Oh, that's clear. Thank you so much, Javed, for answering the David's question. For the rest of the questions that you guys have left in the Q&A section, we will be answering in our blog post the webinar. I just want to take a few seconds before we end here to thank everyone and thank our speakers for sharing their valuable insights, and to all of you joining us here today. This discussion has highlighted the transformative role of technology in shaping the future of Islamic finance and Islamic institutions, from improving risk management to enhancing customer safety and meeting regulatory requirements. As we've seen, innovation in core banking and compliance technology is not just about staying ahead. It's about creating a secure, efficient, and customer-focused financial ecosystems. So we hope that you have found today's session insightful and thought-provoking. If you have further questions or you would like to learn more about the topics discussed, please do not hesitate to reach out to us or to our speakers. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Javed and Mohammed Abu Sheikha, for your time. And we look forward to seeing everyone in our future webinars, inshallah. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.